Hey, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue our journey on this about this amazing ancient language. Yesterday we talked about 望闻问切, or 望闻问切is the techniques that traditional Chinese doctors use their own human-to-human observations involving localism as and touch on your pulses to diagnose you. So of course, it's limited. A lot of things is below observable levels, but this is before Western medicine or machine detectors diagnosis. So it worked. Today we continue with 望 in 望而却步. So this one is came from the same place. That's about looking at some objects. In this context, we use the moon as the object of look because the moon is rather aloof from human everyday ground level living experience. So it represents something far away, but it's visible. And we have this person standing on the soil or on the ground, sideways view, or we have this lower ground at like down to the corner, bottom left corner of the frame to mean it's close to the ground level as some person symbol body standing over here. So in either way, you are at a ground level or you are a little bit stepping up on a stacked up little hill in relevance to the moon. You're still ground level. It's far away. So that's the kind of one. It's really like kind of a long shot and take in the whole view, but it's not up and close examine. It's kind of within, it's a vision far away, and therefore it's inspirational. It's a bigger scope, but it's not like a close examination type. Okay, here I translate as but because we talked about before. It's an interesting word in that it's double function. That's a common Chinese character saying, like each one can come with a whole pack of meanings. But this pack of meanings on this word is opposing, like anonyms. It could mean and, which means a continuation of the logic. And it could mean but. A lot of times it's using but. That means opposite to your expectation. It's a surprising. It's not a continuation of what you thought it's going to be. It's contrary to your expectation. So in this case, I translate the but because if you look at something, you take a long shot view of something, that means that's your goal. You really want to get close to it, right? You, in American culture, it's go-getter, attitude. You really want to go pursue that. But then you reframe approaching, 却步 means you kind of pause, you stopped, you don't move further toward that goal. So that's the kind of a surprise here. And according to what's before and what's after, there is a logic judgment within the language user. And in this situation, it's a twist of expectations. So therefore here, we determine, oh, that's but, not and. And this word itself came from this beard style of man back then. So over here, this horizontal line, lots of times, if it's top of the frame, that means something related to the sky. But over here, it's actually a zoomed in, close-up view on the nostrils. Well, nostrils itself was not depicted in here, but it's the tip of the nose. So it's kind of this section of the mouth. This word is visualizing. So this is the tip of the mouth. Tip of the nose. Okay, tip of the nose. So over here, and then this vertical line is what we call 人中. This kind of dip on above the top of your lip. So that's the kind of positioning. So it gives you a sense of exactly where on the face it's positioning. And this two kind of a drapey downward hanging shape are the beards above the mouth and below the mouth. I'm going to show you a picture in the next frame, but that's the beard. And then you may say, what the beard have to do with logic? I would imagine, okay, this is my interpretation or imagination of what's in the mind of the language creators. Okay, first, ancient times, it's mostly men who get educated and as the language users. So a lot of this meanings and language shapes were started by men. So men, and especially, I guess, educated men of status, they don't have to work or something. So, raising a certain beard style is a thing then, right? And this, like, commonly visible, if you have a conversation with another man, so two literature men talking to each other, they would see this as a common feature. As the like agrarian society, a lot of the icons, the symbols came from the grass, the land, so the everyday living. But in terms of when it comes to the logic, when we talk about sequence of ideas, so idea A, idea B, and we try to transit, almost like an usher or the linker between two thoughts, then that kind of abstract thing came from this daily visible, I'm not sure how daily, but oftenly visible feature on conversation of your opponent who is debating you or something like that on their face feature. So that's a commonly seen object between language users / creators. And this logic of connecting probably I don't know if this side of, like, it's kind of like on the one hand and on the other hand. So instead of using hand gesture as in English to connect the two thoughts, right? So on the one hand, and then the language listener will automatically program to expect on the other hand, right? So there are two sides of the story. So here with this symbol, it's on the one side of the beer and on the other side of the beer. Almost we can think of as that. It's a progression of ideas, and it's a linker in between. Okay, 却, we have the mouse symbol at here, and these two, you see, it's kind of like a divide. It looks almost like a person, right? Because it's similar. And so I know this mouse symbol with one person on top of it, what that is. That means to leave somewhere. And actually, it cannot be mouse symbol. It has to be a cave symbol. So it's an open space. So that means this person is leaving the living quarters or some place they hide in, like from the caveman age, that'll be leaving the cave. That means departing, leaving. But over here, first, there are two of them. Well, it's no problem. It could mean multiple people, right? But this is not a mouse. This is not like an open U shape to mean a cave. This is a mouse. I'm not really functioning this morning. So it couldn't be, in the contemporary Chinese, it was translated as, it was converted to 去, which means departure. It's not. Just look at the symbol over here. It's not a cave shape, and there are double person symbol on top of that. So according to some scholars of reading or keeping track of how it was formed, this is a symbol that means grains. The grain, the mainstay of nutrition that we consume. So mouse symbol, if it's related to eating, that's reasonable, right? Something related to food, we have this mouse symbol, or it could be eating. It's a mouse function as well. So this three-dimensional, not pointing to three-directional, this thing, it could be a mimic or the abstraction of some sort of food. So there are multiple of them. And then multiple probably means ample supply, plenty of something. And then it's food, it's for the mouth. So that's something desirable. And then next to it on the right side is contemporary was abstracted into this. But it looks like, according to scholars, this is a side view. It's kind of like this, a side view, a person hunching over and with this almost like an S-curve, long, elongated. I mean, that's a stylized way to take up the space, but shape-wise, like how structured it looks like is a person kneeling down. So something related to food, to consumption, and some kneeling position facing that. Translated as a refrain because originally that means you desire something, you want more food, you want to eat, but you're kind of kneeling down, you kind of hold your steps, you're not going get it, you kind of reserved, retain. So it's resist the desire to do something or eat something. I mean, eating is the most easily expressed desire over there. And then this kind of a kneeling is like a stopping yourself, not doing something, not taking action, not standing up or walking toward there. It's holding yourself still, stay still or stay down, right, in contemporary English. So that's the trick. That means you're kind of stalking yourself. You know something you want, but you don't go get it. So this is a go, like this is a look. This is looking at the target, right? And this is you refrain. You don't move. Don't take action. And the bu, okay. I translate it as approach, like getting closer to it. In the writing, it's simply made of two food symbols. So this kind of cactus looking pointers are three toes, just like hand. Sometimes in Chinese, it was abstracted into three-finger hand, kind of like that. So sometimes, I mean, in this language too, this toes were abstracted into three toes. I don't know, it's structured and pointed like that as if one toe is growing on the other toe. It's not the case, right? But in any case, these are the three toes, and then this is the arch of the foot, or the sole part of the foot. So it's totally not proportional. And I mean, for somebody with a distance of the civilization, like me, even if I'm the language user of Chinese, and even if I have been through this, discovering the Chinese along with you, if I look at this without knowing the story, without seeing how the character was evolved over the year, like the beginning is more visually depicting like a five toes, and the proportion looks like the foot, human foot anatomy. But over the years, for the convenience of writing, because writing is easier, right? So you don't have the time to draw out the food proportionally. So basically, this is the result of years of using the symbol, and then people thought, okay, you can simplify it this way, and eventually more language users agree on that. So that's my theory of how a certain representation of a concept, even if it's out of proportion, it doesn't really look at it as original reality-based view. Still, it was accepted and used as such. So this is a foot, and you can see this is the mirror image, the flip side. So if this is the one side of foot, this will be like this, right? So that means 2 foot. And we talked before that if we have just 1 foot over there, that means stop there. You have the walking device, but you're not walking, so it's standing. But if you have 2 foot, that means things are moving. We can only move at least with two foot, right? One way and the other going forward, one step at a time, but it's alternative steps. So this 2 foot representing you're moving, but not that far from walking. So there are different words for different speed of walking. And this is probably not that far from standing still. This is a slow walking thing. So overall, that means you see something. You really, probably that's desirable. That's the goal. That's the destination. But somehow you refrain from further approaching, even if it's a slow approaching it. You kind of hold yourself still. So I translate it as a pause, like something you want, but you hold your current position without further clarification of the situation. You're not going to approach it. So there are some signals from that goal or the journey in between that kind of hold you back. So that's the kind of 望而却步. Google Translate turn it into daunting. And I feel like daunting is probably a little bit too overpowering of this expression, because daunting could mean you evaluated something out of your scope, out of your capacity, or out of your courage or your comfort level with risk, right? So it's like too much. You don't want to pursue it anymore. But here, 望而却步, you're still looking. It's still in your mind. It's still your target. Just the approach to it, you kind of change pace to it. It didn't say you gave up. It's like you're still pending. And we have a lot life situations like that. Like we want something or we want to accomplish something. We have some goal, but it's just not everything. Every conditions are ready yet. So we'll kind of hold it off on the back burner, so to speak. So that's a kind of 望而却步, not exactly daunting. Okay, so here I just want to show you the picture of famous Chinese military strategist, because he existed about 2,000 years ago, and he advised that he's like the think tank for some warlord because there was this 3 kingdom era. So after many fighting, eventually 3 bigger military powers exist on this China land 2,000 years ago. So he advised one of the forces, and he came up with pretty good schemes that could win like either time, resource, or battles, even if they are the weaker side. But eventually their side didn't win. And he actually passed away before the result or the end of the wartime. But his advice or his words was captured, and his wisdom, so to speak, a lot of that was collected into the 26th stratagem, which we talked about a lot at the end of last year, 2021. So here I include his picture to show you this art concept, because he definitely, this image of this military strategist he is a thinker, so he's a literature man, and you can, I mean, he has a specific fan was made of feathers, specific headgear, which, I mean, probably is our imagined outfit of him as an identifier of his outfit. But his beard style, we can kind of see is a kind of common literature man beard style. And that's the art, how that came, like right below your nose tip, the top side of your mouth would look like that, and then the bottom beard will look like that. And art is a direct visual capture of that beard style. And by looking at that, so probably like people, whoever you're talking with, holding this beard style, they would continue their idea. And so that's the logic linker, you know, abstracted from your conversation as the beard style. Okay, cash into currency by one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.